Let's go. Let's go. This is
Let's
about to
go,
be an
baby.
extraordinary episode because I got the one and the only Jacob Lawson, best-selling author of the book Make It Extraordinary. Jacob, welcome to the show.
Oh man, glad to be here. Thank you, Jake.
Dude, I'm pumped to be here. I mean, because it wasn't that long ago when we got on a Zoom and we were talking about this idea that you had for a book. And I want to know, to kick it off right now, what is your book? What is the book about? And let's start there and dig into the story.
All right. Well, the book is Make It Extraordinary. 27 life-changing lessons to help you elevate beyond the ordinary. Um, I was first inspired to write this book right before my 40th birthday. And I was just in a moment of gratitude and was just thanking the Lord up above for all of the blessings that I've been just blessed to be taught in my life. And at that point I kind of made a vow to share these lessons. And this is before I even had any envisions or inklings of writing a book, and I just kind of made that vow and along with a couple other things that I promised to do. I kept telling this to myself and telling this to myself, and then next thing you know, I was inspired to write this book, and these lessons started popping into my head. All these, what were the life-changing, game-changing lessons that really set me off, that put me on these different paths that I'm blessed to be on. And I just started jotting those down. I started jotting down which lessons in my life changed it, which lessons in my life elevated me, which lessons in my life put me in a different direction. And and uh and and, and that's how it all got started.
Dude, I love it. I love it. And let's start talking about some of these lessons, man, because you have learned a lot, and it took a lot of crafting and working to get to the best of the best lessons that is now in your book. What are some of the lessons that you go over, or some of the lessons that you believe are going to have the greatest impact on readers?
Well, I kind of took it in a chronological order. Basically, I was at a pivotal moment in my life. I wrote this book, the rough draft of this book, the week of my 41st birthday. So that's 40 years of total experience that I had. And I said, okay, so which ones are these? And I kind of just started, when were these changes made in my life? And some very simple ones, that some entrepreneurial lessons that my grandparents told me, some work ethic lessons that my parents instilled in me, some really funny and quirky stories about just extraordinary common courtesy, that little things in life that just they kind of go and get taken for granted. And but they really, just certain ones just set in my mind, and did that. And then, from there, I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years. So I've got many and many very tough business lessons that have either I've been blessed with or got slapped in the face with, um, that I put in there. And I say, that I took all of the lessons that I learned the easy way, which is mentors just being put into my life. The ones I learned the hard way, where life kind of slapped me around a little bit and I had to learn some things. And the lessons that I learned the most expensive way, which is paying hard earned money to get in the presence of people that have blazed the trails before me and have done extraordinary things in business. And I've got a culmination of all of those three things: the easy way, the hard way, and the expensive way.
Dude, I love it because you really break it down into, you really thought long and hard about these things, right? Like, yeah, you've experienced them, but now through this book, you've been able to make it easier for people to understand. Okay, this is the easy way, this is the hard way, this is the expensive way, right? I want to know, Jacob. I want to know, my man. And I call you Jake because I'm Jake. I call you Jacob because I'm Jacob. We're going to go with whatever comes to my mind today. But I want to know why the word extraordinary. All right, your business, extraordinary flooring, your business as a speaker, your business as everything you do is all around the word extraordinary. Where did you get inspired by that word, and why make that the word of choosing?
Well, uh, I it didn't always start that way. You know, I started off my business. The first name of my business was Big Jake's Affordable Flooring. And as you can bet, with a name like that, I was attracting all of the big spenders. Not exactly. And while doing that, I didn't, I was getting that business going and going at it, and it wasn't always busy. And I'd have some pickup days I do with my old boss, and literally I was riding in the back of his van, sitting on a 5-gallon bucket because I'm in a work van, and I had this aha moment, and I said, "Make it extraordinary." And then I tell my boss, I said, but my old boss at the time, I said, "Man, I got it. I got the name of my new business." And he said, "What?" I said, "It's not Big Jake's Affordable Flooring. It's going to be Extraordinary Flooring." And and he's like, "Oh, I don't know. That's a little much, man. That's a big word. That's a little much for this guy just getting into business." And it didn't matter. This was the name. It was set. It wasn't even a question. It was it. And so, 20 years later, that's been my business, and the tagline has always been "Make it extraordinary." But over these past few years, it's just been setting in, like, and it's just become way more of a tagline. It's become a way of life. It's become part of my creed and my credence that if you're gonna make it extraordinary. Why be a painter when you can be an artist? Why do something ordinary if you have the ability to go above and beyond and make it extraordinary? And I just feel that it's now my life's passion to help inspire everybody to find that extraordinary inside of them, because I believe that everybody's got this one extraordinary talent or quirk about them, just something about them that is just truly extraordinary, that is admirable to other people. And it's my inspiration to help inspire people to find that and share that with the world now. So that's now the new way of life.
Come,
Make it
come on.
extraordinary.
There we go. Make it extraordinary. Go buy the book on Amazon right now too.
That's it.
Hey,
Let's make
let's
this book launch extraordinary.
let's talk about it though, because you wanted to make the book extraordinary, right? And that's part of the reason you decided to work with us to help you do that. So what made you decide to want to invest in the book versus doing the book all by yourself, and trying to figure it out along the way?
Well, very, very cool little backstory on this. And it started with a podcast. We have a mutual friend and my trainer, Jay Ferrugia of Renegade Fitness. And I've been training with him for a few years now, and I was listening to his podcast. And I filled in all his new podcasts, and I'm like, man, let me just go back on some. And I literally started randomly scrolling. The guy's got 500 podcasts, and I don't know how far back you were, but I landed on you. And this is like, I had just decided that I was going to write this book, and boom, I land on your podcast. And this is before you even did Big Idea to Bestseller, you know, and so God's divine time is the way I like to say it. Everything is put in my life at just this divine time, at the right place at the right time. And so I looked you up on LinkedIn, and by this time, you had already had the Big Idea to Bestseller. And so this was literally 1 week before, just a few days before I left to go to Brazil for my 41st birthday. Um, and I hit you up and I said, "Hey man, nice to meet you. I just heard you on my podcast. I'm writing a book. I'll be in Brazil for the next 2 weeks. When I come back, I'll have a book." And literally, I did. I had my rough draft when I came back. That was the goal. I had 2 weeks in Brazil, and I set that rough draft. And this is my life story, and I had already kind of had most of the chapters planned out. So I had that 2 week period of time, and I set my mind for it, and I knew I could make that happen, and I did. And it was a great story. but it wasn't a great book,
Mm.
right? So it was, I mean, the world doesn't know Jacob Lawson yet. The world doesn't know Mr. Extraordinary yet. So why would you read this book about this guy, right? Well, it's because of the lessons, and then through working with y'all, you helped me turn this thing into an extraordinary book. You helped me take these lessons and put a little bit of front runner up in the lesson in the beginning of the chapter, and then help me summarize that at the end of the chapter, and really,
Yeah.
really, really help me turn this thing into something extraordinary. And man, in God's divine time, you were put in my life for that reason, and I took advantage of it. And I'm a type of person. I'm a multi business entrepreneur, so I don't have a ton of time. That's why I set that 2 week goal while I was on that family vacation to get that done. And I knew that kind of was going to be the easy part, is write this rough draft down for me, because it's my story. So, I figured that was easy. But I knew the rest of it is where I was going to struggle to get it to the finish line. And that's why I made it a no brainer to work with y'all.
Yeah, it's funny, and it's one of my favorite stories because, that the podcast that you heard me on with Jay, that was done like 2021 or something, right? Like that was done. Big Idea to Bestseller, like you said, like the business of Big Idea to Bestseller had not yet even been started. I had just had two books out at the time. I think working on my third probably at that time. And I was talking about what books could do. I was just starting to make the transition into talking about books. And it's a lesson for everyone that's listening, is like, you never know when your message is going to make a difference in the person that needs you the most. And a lot of times we get so caught up in, oh my gosh, I gotta turn this around today. I gotta get on the show tomorrow. I gotta be live the next day, and then I gotta sign clients or help people the next day. And it's like, yeah, but you gotta be here for the long game, right? And at that time, when I did that podcast, we didn't know where we would be, let alone have the services that we now provide for people just like you, right? And so it's that beautiful, beautiful thing of like, you know what? Aim to serve, play the long game. And when people are ready for it, they'll find you, right? But you got to do the work leading up to that. And that's allowed you to write a great book and inspire so many people already. So as you were going through the program, as you were going through your book, right, you had the rough draft. And then we started to kind of really work with you on a few different things. What was there a moment that was like, oh shit, this is really good, or this is something that I'm really proud of? Like, I can't wait to bring this to life. Like, was there a moment when you shifted from like, all right, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to tell my story, to, oh shit, like I got a good book on my hands?
Working with Adrian, I can't thank her enough. She literally had me tearing up, when starting to put this together, when we started like naming the chapters and we started defining the lessons. I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it. She literally, and these are recorded calls when we're doing this. I'm sitting here, 6'3" guy wiping off the tears, and that was it. And I just knew that, this isn't about my story. This is about helping to change lives. This is something bigger than me, and that's why I
Mm-hmm.
write this. This isn't about me selling books. This is about changing lives. And when that started to sink in, that was just, it's such a cool feeling. And I can't thank Adrian enough. Like we're good friends on social now, so we're always tagging each other and hitting each other back. And she just helped bring these stories to life, and really made them relatable to people, so it doesn't matter if you know me, it doesn't matter if you know or care who I am. These stories are just so relatable in so many levels to so many people, and that was the really, really cool part about it.
Dude, that's great to hear. And for everyone that's listening, one of the things that we provide for our clients is a designated writing coach to support you through this, to help elaborate the stories, to structure the book, to organize it so that you can just be you and be great. Or in Jake's case, be extraordinary, and let us really help you shape that narrative to create the book that will help those people who read it. Now, you write this book, you get ready to release it. What is one action item? I always love throwing in action item, and I know you're a big action guy. Based on your experience of writing this book and the lessons you've shared in this book and the 40 plus years of life that you've had, what is one action item somebody can take after listening to this episode to help them be and live an extraordinary life?
Well, the simple definition of extraordinary is to be more than ordinary, to give and provide more than is ordinarily expected. It is just a simple thing. And then when you live your life and you live your credence by that, extraordinary things are going to happen. One of the biggest things that kind of misconceptions that I'm trying to break down. Like, this word extraordinary seems so big to so many people that it's almost too much for some people to say. Like only these superstars or these rich and famous people can have extraordinary things and be extraordinary. No, this book breaks down that everybody has the ability to be extraordinary, from the teachers to the paramedics to the everybody. I've got a part in the book where I admire how some garbage men this extraordinary ability to just have a flow and a rhythm and just make it look so easy and charismatic. Everybody has the ability to be extraordinary. Everybody. And that's one of the big things that I want to break down, is that don't be scared to be extraordinary. Don't be scared to use the word to be extraordinary. Don't be scared to feel extraordinary. You don't have to be on top of the world to feel extraordinary. It can happen every day. It can happen for everyday people. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to break down and make this more of a common word than some word that is just too big for most people to feel.
Yeah, what a breakdown. I mean, it's the word extraordinary is extraordinary in its own way, right? Like naturally the word feels bigger, right? Which is what you're talking about. But I think what I'm taking away from what you're saying here and how I resonate with that is like extraordinary can mean something different to everybody else to be extraordinary, right? And your extraordinary life doesn't need to be my extraordinary life. Your extraordinary family doesn't need to be my extraordinary family, right? And I think that that's like when you're talking about this, it just reinforces that we got to play our own games. We got to define what it means for us, and if we can achieve what that looks like, we will be extraordinary. We are extraordinary, and that's the magic that comes from understanding that and from reading books like yours, because it makes the unbelievable believable, right? It makes the extraordinary ordinary to be even more extraordinary, right? And that's like the magic. Now, one of the things that I know is one of the most beautiful experiences when someone finishes their book is that launch day, that launch week, that launch experience. All right, you're coming fresh off of this. All right. Talk to me about the feelings that you had leading up to the launch. Talk to me about what you did for the launch, and talk to me about how you feel, a week after the launch.
Launch morning was surreal. Launch morning, for those that know me, or for those that may follow me on Make It Extraordinary, that's the socials. I do a morning inspirational message every morning while I'm working out in the gym, and it was just surreal. I spent some extra time. I'm always I got a lot going on, so I'm always pressed for time. My schedule's always booked, no white space, and I just spent some extra time in there, really just soaked up the moment. Like, this is it. This is official. It's officially launched, right? It's on Amazon. People can buy it. I'm screaming it from the rooftops. And I really, really just soaked up that moment and had to enjoy that. So spent some extra time in the gym that morning, and then I went to work. I went to grinding like I do, and literally I spent 2 days straight, 20 hours, 10 hours each day. First, I texted friends and family, then I texted business acquaintances, and I think I've got a total of like 3,500 contacts in my phone. So I was texting for 2 days straight, which was quite exhausting.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It was a way of getting it out. Of course, we were emailing everybody as well and doing socials. Just getting it out there. We've got to be grassroots about it, right? We don't have all of this big team or anything that's going to shout it out there. You got to get it out there. So that was Thursday and Friday, and Saturday we
Wait,
did
wait,
the.
before you go to Saturday,
All right.
I want to talk about the grassroots and spending this time and communicating with people. When you reach out to these people, right? And you're reaching out friends and family, then you're starting to go broader, you're going to people you haven't talked to in a long time. Did you find that people who maybe you didn't, were there people that you didn't expect to support you or say nice things or to get excited for you that maybe you haven't heard from in a while or that you didn't expect would support you, but they were like, dude, this is the greatest thing ever? Did you notice any of that throughout all of these messages that you sent?
Those were absolutely some of the coolest moments. You got some of these people that you almost just expect to, that you get crickets from. You don't even get a response from. And then you got some of these people that you don't expect anything. You haven't talked to them. Some of these people I haven't talked to in years. And then I get screenshot. I just bought 12 copies. I'm giving it to my team. I just bought 30 copies. I'm giving it to my team. And just I just bought this. I just bought that. And I even sent it to some clients that I didn't have the best experience with, and boom, like instantly screenshotting the thing. So yeah, put it out there, because you don't know who's going to really support it. It could be, one of my favorite authors, Mike McCallowitz, told me his first book he sold, he's expecting everybody to buy it, and he's like, launch day happens and my own mom didn't buy it. So you don't know who's going to buy it, but you got to just put it out there. You got to put it out there and let the world do it. And if you're doing good things for people and you're doing good things for yourself in this world, I think it's all going to come back to you. And it did. We had a great turnout, great response. And yeah, that was some of the coolest things. The people that I didn't expect to really supporting and really excited and congratulating me and sharing it on their socials, and that was the big surprise, was the people that were, you didn't expect to do it, really super excited for you.
Dude, I love it. All right, let's get back to that launch week. What happens on Saturday? So Thursday, Fridays, grassroots, you're getting into it. You're getting all the feels, all the emotions. You're climbing through the rankings. Talk to me about what happens that opening weekend.
So we hit number one in four categories. That was just surreal. That was amazing. That get to screenshot that, and that's there forever. That's we hit number one. We hit the goal. We also climbed in total rankings as well. We when we launched, we were like in 37,000th place, right, on the beginning of launch day. And by day two, we were in 2,900, right? So that was huge. It's in total books on Amazon, the biggest platform in the world.
And to put that in perspective for people, you're in the top 2,900 of every book that's out there. There's millions of books that are out there. You're in the most elite company when you get there at that stage, and maintaining it and having a great time there is so powerful, man. That was awesome to see.
That was definitely a surreal moment. It made everything, it just clicked it in there, and it just cemented in that what I'm doing is for a reason. It's cemented in that what I'm doing is bigger than me. It's not for me. It's not for book sales. I don't know how much the sales are. It doesn't even matter. It's not about book sales. It's about this message. It's about this movement that I'm creating. And just as you touched on earlier, yeah, we had X amount of people buy it this weekend. We got people still getting it. We got people writing in reviews. Reviews are starting to come in, which is so cool to hear. Like, people like, man, I can't put this down. You can't put it down in the middle of the story. The stories are so catching, and grabbing. And so when I'm reading this, it's surreal. But the just as you touched on earlier, what happened this weekend is this weekend, and this week is this week. But books, they live on, and I got to touch on this. This not only did I put my 27 most life changing lessons in this book, but I paid homage to the mentors that taught them to me. This was very big for me, like to make it more than me, to pay homage to these people. Some are still here, some are not, but their name and story and legacy lives on through this book that I created. And some are everyday people and some are very famous people, but that story and that legacy lives on, and it takes its own new life. And rest in power to my uncle Steve. And I had to talk to my cousins about it. I said, they got people in different countries right now reading about your dad, and so that was a very, very powerful thing to make this book not about me, to make this book about other people, about mentors, to make this book about the extraordinary people in this world that make a difference every single day.
Man, that's some good stuff. And it's just beginning, man. Like, that's the beautiful thing here is like all of these things have happened in a week, at the time of this recording, like that just goes to show what you're doing matters. It's bigger than you. We always say it's bigger than a book. And now you have the opportunity to continue to leverage this, build off this, continue to impact people from now for as long as you want with this book, right? And so how can people go buy the book? How can people go learn how to live an extraordinary life? Where can we go to follow you? Give us all the goods.
So make it extraordinary. 27 life-changing lessons to help you elevate beyond the ordinary, officially on Amazon. You can follow me on all platforms at Make It Extraordinary. Make_it extraordinary. Make It Extraordinary is going to pull up. Jacob Lawson or Extraordinary Flooring is the business, but Make It Extraordinary is the movement. This is what has begun. This is what is culminating. This energy is starting to intertwine in this earth, and it is just going to continue to go forward. We have a Make It Extraordinary life website that you can go to, where we've got some tips and checklists to help make your life extraordinary, to help envision that life, and to help inspire and envision it and see it. If you want to make your life extraordinary, you have to see it, you have to feel it, you have to believe it, and then you can achieve it. I say this every day. If you don't know where you're going, then if you can't see where you're headed, there's no way you're going to get there. But if you can see it and envision it, you can make it happen. You just got to, and it's more than that. You got to see it, envision it, and then work for it and go after it. And got all of these lessons in the book. And we pay homage to all the mentors, we pay homage to all the other extraordinary people in this world that change our lives daily. And some of them get the credit for, and some of them don't get the credit for. But I can't say it enough that you do not have to be this superstar person to be extraordinary. There's extraordinary in everybody. You just have to find what that is and share it with the world.
Dude, way to wrap that thing up. Everybody make sure to grab a copy of Make It Extraordinary. And dude, I'm grateful for you coming on here, man. This is an extraordinary conversation. Two extraordinary people elevating beyond the ordinary, man. And I'm grateful for you being on here and coming on the show.
Jake, I can't thank you enough. Everything that you're doing is giving opportunities to people like me to take that big idea that we have and turn it into a bestseller. Big Idea to Bestseller is a movement in its own, and it is monumental in me being able to make this thing happen in the way that I've been able to happen. And writing this book on my own would have never been as powerful as it is with the help of you and your team.
Man, I appreciate you saying that.
Enough.
Appreciate you saying that. And for everybody who just listened to this episode, here's my challenge to you as you wrap this thing up. Spend 5 minutes today and just journal. What does extraordinary mean to you? What would an extraordinary life look like to you? Write it down, visualize it, and start to take that action item towards that life. You guys, that's what we got today. Make it extraordinary, and I'll see you on the next one.